Hello, my loves. Hello, my love. Sitting here listening to one of my favorite meditations, and I'm writing. Still on hiatus right now, working out my last few toxic traits, I guess you can call them. But I don't even think they're my toxic traits. I don't think they're mine. And this is why I say this. Now, the smoking is definitely mine. It's mine to a certain extent. So, when you are on a twin flame journey, and when you are part of the 144, what I understand now is that you're going to be tested, right? So, for those of you guys, hey, how you doing? Who are just tuning in, this is the first time I'm speaking about this, so come on into the conversation. This is what my hiatus is about because I've healed for the most part, right? Where I'm no longer like crying at whim or taking things personally because I understand that there is something greater, right? There's something bigger than I am. There's something bigger than you. There's something bigger than all of us, which is the spirit realm. We have been raised and bred to only focus on what our two eyes can see. But I was watching this documentary and he was saying that our eyes our eyes see by reflecting light. But because the way our eyes are made, I think we only get a fraction of the reflection of the light that's around here, which means we only see a lot of things that are solid. My computer, my book, phone, door, bed, things like that, people. But the spirit realm is the unseen, right? And the spirit realm makes up like 90 something percent of where we're at right now on this earth, on this planet, Mother Gaia, okay? Which got me to thinking because I have spiritually awoken to the truths, not only of myself and the people that I am around, but on a greater scale, this planet, our government. Um, there is a deep state. There definitely is a deep state. There's a lot that's been hidden from us, not just by the government, but by everybody who is in the know, right? And so it just had me thinking, for those of you who are on your spiritual journey, for those of you who have a spiritually awoken in to who you are truly, because we are truly spiritual beings having a human experience. How else would you explain deja vu? How else would you explain telepathy? How else would you explain all the clairs, clairaudient, clairsentient, clairvoyance, and there's another one? How else can you explain those things? How else can you explain our intuition, that gut feeling? Mothers, how can you explain knowing when your child is in trouble or your mate is in trouble? There is a sixth sense. Remember that movie? Remember that movie? There's so many different, oh my goodness, I just got like my mind just blown because throughout this entire journey, I have not thought about that movie. But I'm thinking about it now because everything I described, it's not the five senses that we've been taught. It's not the hear, see, smell, touch, taste. There is a sixth sense, and we have been bred and conditioned and poisoned to forget, to dull, and to not be aware that we have a sixth sense. We have a sixth sense. And so the question that came to me was, this is the year of the Aquarius. This is Aquarius season, right? I had pulled something up and I can't remember. Pulled something up on the Aquarius season that we're in, Age of Aquarius. And I think it was in, I'm trying to think of the planetary alignments. So anywho, I'm getting off track. And I thought about it. All the pastors, all the preachers, all the ministers, did they not know? But they had to know. They had to know. And what I'm referring to is they had to know that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. But no one ever says that in the church. That is a very big key for salvation for some people, for a lot of people, because we have to know who we are internally before we can figure out what's going on in our lives. Like there's an old adage, you got to know where you came from in order to know where you're going. You have to know your history. You have to know who you are. And I'm not talking about the fact that you were born. I'm talking about who were you in previous lives. Who were you? Who were you? You got to think about that, because you are not a human having a spiritual experience. It's not as if, and what that means is when I say you are a spiritual being having a human experience, that means your spirit that is inside of you is older than you are currently. That's why you have deja vu. That's why there are things that you don't know, but you know. That's why when you're thinking of someone, they automatically call you. We are linked energetically. And so I was just sitting here thinking about all the people who are in religion but don't really speak on spirituality. It's kind of as if they removed it on purpose, intentionally. And I don't know if they did it because they were just teaching the Bible, or if they, I don't know, or if they did it because I don't know, but it just, why? And I remember asking my aunt that, who went to theology school and who lives literally, listen, she's not perfect, but I've never met anyone who literally almost lives by the Bible. I don't know what part she doesn't live by the Bible, because I don't know. That's what I'm saying. But she's not perfect, so that's why I put that in there. And I asked her this was in the beginning, and she was coming up, and we were having like powwows. I was bringing out the Bible, and she was bringing out her Bible, and then we were, is it exegesing the text? I think that's how you pronounce it. I don't know. But anyway, and I asked her, well, why don't the church teach this? This is important. This is important. It's as if the Bible and the churches, I'm talking about the religious churches, not just Christianity, not just Catholicism, not just Islam, not just Buddhism, but I'm talking about all of them that were created, that were man-made created. And I grew up Christian, and I'm very thankful because I do believe in Yeshua. I do believe in Jesus. But I also know that Jesus wasn't the only one. Why do I know that? Is because there's not one race on this planet. And the way Christianity came into play was very violent. Very violent. And against women as well. Mainly though. The beginning of the Christian church burned women for their intuitive abilities. That's basically what it is. Their intuitive knowledge. And so I was just curious as to if anyone else has thought about that. You're on your spiritual awakening. You're seeing things that, that are there but not there. You're feeling things that you don't know why you're feeling. You're smelling things, you're sensing things. Your senses are heightened. Not just your hearing, not just the five, but your sixth sense. Go back and watch that movie. The Sixth Sense. When I look back on it now, the father, Bruce Willis, his sixth sense was dull. His sixth sense was dull. But it told the story about how we are ignorant to what's really going on around us. Because here we have this living spirits. This living spirit. Not Bruce Willis, forgive me, because Bruce was dead. His wife, you know, her physical senses were working, but she didn't recognize the signs that there was a presence around her. She didn't recognize. And we don't recognize. But the age of Aquarius dictates that we do. It's imperative that you get in contact with your sixth sense. It's imperative. Because we are not alone. And everybody that looks like you is not human. So I'm not sure how far you are on your journey, and this may sound like I'm talking about a movie. This may sound like I'm crazy to you, if depending on where you're at on your journey again. But for those of you who enter over and understand, and I said understand lastly because we've been understanding. Now it's time to overstand in the spiritual realm and understand what it actually means to you. So that's what I mean when I say enter over and under. Under is just the surface for me. Is you're undermining your own understanding to me. When we just look at the surface, that's just understanding. But the moment we take it to the inside and feel it and understand what it means to us, that's understanding. Because you can apply it. It becomes applicable to your life, to the inside of you, to your maturity, to your spiritual growth, right? And when you overstand, that means you're overstanding in the higher realm. There is a higher realm. 3D, 5D, 6D, 7D, 8D, 9D. We are multidimensional beings. What does that mean, multidimensional? Well, right now we are in one dimension. Meaning if you were sitting here with me, you're watching me right now. That's one dimension. But when you go to sleep, your conscious does go places. Pay attention to your dreams. They tell you a lot. They tell you a lot. I've been dreaming a lot more lately. I used to be scared of my dreams, but I'm becoming more comfortable with them, possibly because I have visions now. Not long ones. One time I seen kids, I was walking over where I grow food and stuff, and there's a part in the back which was cleared for just corn. And last year sometime, I was walking back there, and I'm just walking because I wanted to see what the land was like back there. There was nobody back there but me. It's a couple of tents back there. I think the owner has people that live on the property. Excuse me. But I was walking back there, and I instinctively seen a bunch of children playing in the woods. No BS. I looked and I seen them. It was a bunch of children. It was more than 5, and it was like they were playing hide and go seek in the trees. And I looked away and I looked back and I didn't see anything. And I thought that was odd. But just the other day, another thought came to me. When I first met the owner, and he told me that the property was actually supposed to be housing. He was supposed to be putting houses up on it. It's supposed to be a subdivision. But after the election and the voting, the zoning had changed. And so he could no longer put it there. And so he turned it into a community farm. And I said, that is a great idea. And I said, you just don't even know. I said, this is going to bring the community together. This is going to be so good because people already on, the organic food thing. And I was telling him about me, and I touched him, and this man started crying. Literally, he started crying. I don't know why. He started crying. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I said, this is a good thing. You'll see. I didn't even ask the man why he was crying. I just continued talking. And it kind of scared me. I've been a little frightened about what I'm going to see or what I am seeing. Because back in my 20s, I used to have this reoccurring dream. Well, I'll skip the beginning part. I'll tell y'all about that later. But during parts of this dream, I had to hide in a tree with a couple of other people. And when we came out, it was nothing but sheer carnage. Literally, it was carnage. It was carnage. I seen people on stakes. I seen people just dead. It was as, like them old time movies where it's a big war and everybody running. I don't know who ran in. I'm just giving you a setup. You know how they running into each other and everybody's like, give me liberty or give me death. I don't know why I just said that. But I'm actually seeing Mel Gibson with the painted face, and I can't think of the movie. Y'all know which movie I'm talking about. Mel Gibson, old movie, long hair, had his face painted, going into war. But after all that, when the troops pull back and you see all the bodies, it was like that. I used to have that reoccurring dream. But the beginning part was mainly for me, to tell me, God was telling me back then who I was, pretty much. And it always stuck with me. Always stuck with me. I'm going to tell y'all about that soon. I'll tell y'all about that. It was a very prophetic dream. And now that I'm becoming into alignment, meaning I'm clearing out the toxicity in my body from food, from smoking. I'm still, working things out. Don't judge me. But my food intake has gotten a whole lot better. And so that was a major thing for me. That was major because food has been a problem for me since I was a kid. So kudos to me. Snap, 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 snaps. You got to give yourself your own kudos. You got to give yourself your own kudos. Got to. Can't wait for nobody else to give you kudos. Can't wait for nobody else to big you up. You can't wait for nobody to say, go girl. You can't wait for nobody to say, hey, you did a great job. Don't wait for nobody. Don't wait for any outside external validation. You validate yourself. You look in the mirror and you do that Aisa. You the bomb, girl. You good, boy. You do that. Don't wait for nobody else. Trust me, because you'll be sadly disappointed and highly upset because they ain't gonna do it. Especially if they hate and jealous or envious. Baby, you ain't gonna get it. And if you still sleep, you ain't noticing that you got haters and jealous people around you because you ain't noticing what they're saying and what they're not saying. And it's actually what they're not saying. They're not congratulating you. They're not helping you with your ideas. They're not trying to elevate you. They don't want you to surpass them. They already think you passed them. So you think they're going to help you get more past them? Hell to the nah. They're going to keep their foot on your neck. They're not going to give you information that can help you. They not. PPP loan, shit, you ain't getting that information from them. They ain't gonna hip you to no game because they don't want you to surpass them. They don't want you above them. They don't even want you on their level. They feel as if you're underneath them, but you're not. And it's not even them doing it, it's their spirit doing it. Their spirit doing it. Take it from me, from example. I don't know what position y'all are in. I don't know if where y'all at in y'all life. But if you're anything like me, I literally, if you're looking at me from the outside, which I went to a family function and everybody was, and I'm still smiling and laughing because they're looking for tangible things. They're looking, oh, where your job at? That's a question that I got asked, and I was told that I wasn't looking for a job. Okay, I didn't say anything. They're looking for your job. They're looking for your car. They're looking for your own apartment. They're looking for your money. Those are the only things people who are still asleep look at. That is it. They're not in tune with their higher self, with their star player. They're not. They're not. And instead of trying to help you out your situation, they withhold information for you from you so you don't get up out of your situation. Isn't that some craziness? Can't nobody tell me they love me if they withhold information while everybody chilling and peeing it up. But ain't nobody tell me no information. That's okay. Because their rejection is God's protection. So whenever I'm rejected, I know God's protecting me from something. Just because I can't see it or feel it at the moment, I know it's protection. But it still make you feel some kind of way, and you still got to handle and deal with those emotions. Okay, because even though you know God, their rejection is God's protection, you still have to deal with the feeling of being rejected. Why your family don't even want to help you? Like, okay, I get you don't want to help, but you don't even want to give me information so I can help myself. Like, give me information so I can help myself. That way I can get out. But when you ask, okay, well, why you ain't tell me about that? Y'all got the hookup. They like, I ain't even think about it. That's a lie. They know it's a lie. I know it's a lie. But that tells more about them. It tells more about how you handle it as well. I didn't say anything. When she said she forgot, I just was like, okay. Because I already know that my rejection from them is God's protection. Protection from what? I have no clue. So if you can get those things in your head, everything that I just said in this video, write it down. These are the things that I had to repeatedly tell myself when you're being shunned, when you're being ostracized, when you're being disrespected, when you're being unhelped, when you're being conditionally loved instead of unconditionally loved. Like, I recognize that when I had it, everybody loved me. But now that I don't have it, it's like they don't have no patience. And I rebuke that. I don't even allow that. I don't care what they're feeling at all when it comes to that part, because I know what I've done in this family and in my life. Not only, and I'm not talking about monetary. Monetary is paper. I can wipe my ass with money, but you can't wipe your ass when someone supports you and when you're crying. You can't wipe your ass when someone has been there holding your hand through sickness and in health and through poverty and when you getting your ass beat and things like that. You understand? You can't. Those things are intangible. You can't wipe your ass when I show up and celebrate you, when I give you information that can help you. Those things are intangible. But when you have people who are still functioning out of their lower vibrations, they don't look at that as being worthy. They don't look at that as being wealth. They look at that as nothing because you're not being able to give them anything. I once told this young chick, stop giving people stuff because they're going to fall in first. Get to know them. Let them get to know you. Let them earn that part of you. Because basically what I realized is that the people around me, and I'm talking about everybody, there are no exemptions. Everybody, from adults to the children, they fell in love with what I was giving them. They fell in love with my hand. They did, but they didn't fall in love with me. They don't love me. They really don't, because if you did, no matter what I do, no matter what I say, that love will still continue and you would still be willing to do whatever is necessary to allow me to feel good, not actually do things to try and make me feel worse or do things to try and make me feel bad. Like, that's what people do. And that's what you may be facing that's around you. They want you to feel bad. They want, because understand, while you was living your life and doing everything you could for whomever and ever, to them, it wasn't enough. Nothing you did was enough if they're not helping you now. Understand, understand, and understand what I'm saying. If you are around people that you have helped in the past, and this is no judgment, this is just giving you an understanding on what you're dealing with and how to cope with it. This is not me going off on a tangent. This is wealth of information, because I know now This is everything I'm talking about is what I went through for you to get to me at this point where there are no tears, there are no regrets. There's nothing but self-respect, self-love, and unconditional respect. That's it. For myself, for God, and for the people that are around me. If I am less than myself, then the people around me suffer. Why? Because I am emitting that energy. That's why when I know that energy come knocking on my door, I know it's not mine. You feel me? It's not mine. It's not mine. So when it come knocking on my door, uh, take it back. It's yours. Take it with you. You can't leave it here. There's no drop offs anymore. I used to do that as an empath. I used to allow people to drop off their baggage to me by way of phone call, by way of text, by way of me just giving unsolicited advice just because I see they're struggling. Now I don't do that no more. And people around me are mad because I withdrew my energy. They don't realize on the spiritual level why they're doing the things that they're doing. They're doing the things that they're doing because I spiritually withdrew my energy, meaning I no longer assist. If you don't ask why, I'm not going to offer. I offered my whole entire life. Matter of fact, I didn't have to offer. I just did it. I did it. And I didn't expect anything in return at all. Because if I did, I would have stopped doing it a long time ago. But I did expect. And so that's where I had to come to grips with my reality. And that's where you need to come to grips with your reality as well. Is because it's what I expected. I expected people to treat me as I treated them. But if they were going to treat you the way you treated them, they would have been doing it all along. You're expecting it to be done because you are in need of help. But let me bring you back again. If they were like you, it would have been a reciprocated relationship, meaning you give, I give, you give, I give, you give, I give, you, me, you, me. You know, it's a give and take, just like in any relationship. I never paused enough. I never stopped enough. I never sat still enough to realize that the people around me were never giving. They were constantly taking. Constantly taking. But I was willing to give. And I still don't, I don't feel bad about that. There's no guilt about that. There's none. There's none because I did what I felt. I did what my heart told me to do. So if you have people around you whose heart is telling them to withdraw from you, whose heart is telling them to withhold information that can help you financially, to withhold information about meetings and all kinds of things, then you have to recognize what type of heart you are dealing with. I'm not going to say they cold-hearted, but I'm going to say that there may be heartbroken. People who are heartbroken tend to lash out and tend to want other people to hurt. Okay? And it comes in all sorts of ways. There's just not one way that a brokenhearted person can come at you. Okay? My journey has taught me that there are brokenhearted people that are so good and adept at hiding their brokenheartedness that they become narcissists. They'll keep taking and taking and taking and taking and taking and taking and giving you the bare minimum. If you got anybody in your life right now, my baby, my darling, my sis, my bruh, my love, my chica, my chico, please get rid of them now. Get rid of them. If they are giving you the bare minimum, if you sit still long enough and you take stock in your life and you realize the things that you've done for folks, think back on what they've done for you. And this is not a tit for tat type thing. That's not what I'm saying. Because there are some times when you're up and sometimes when you're down. But what I am saying is that take stock in the people around you. If you are the only giver, if you are the constant giver, if you are the constant savior, if you are constantly bailing people out, my love, stop. Because there will come a point in time when you will need help and those people will not help you. You have to surround yourself with people that are really like you. Not the ones you want to be like you. Not the ones you're trying to teach to be like you. Not the ones you hoping to catch on and be like, okay. No, not them. The ones that's already there. Literally the ones that's already there. It's enough of you giving people passes and hoping they'll catch on, especially if you've been dealing with them for years upon years upon years upon years. Now, if you like 2, 3, 4 months in, I, I have a high tolerance, but listen, people give you warning signs then and there too. Okay? Fortunately and unfortunately, I haven't met any real new people for me to be like, okay, it took me like 3 months and I got. No, because what God has been doing in my life at this point is weeding out those that did not have my best interest at heart, did not pour into me. That's basically what it is. So when you in church and they say pour in, that means people who pour life into you, feed life into you by way of knowledge, deeds, love, comes in many ways. 3044. Okay, it's time to get off of this thing. I went all the way on. I did. I wasn't planning to. I just wanted to give food for thought about pastors and whether or not when they had their spiritual awakening. I know there's some pastors out there that be faking the funk. I get it. I know it. They all about the money. But there are some genuine ones out there. Why were they never speaking on spirituality? It speaks about it in the Bible. It talks about it in the Bible, but it was like it was specifically omitted. And I'm not pointing blame at anybody because these are structures that were created long before you and I were on this planet, okay? Long before the pastors and the preachers that we've listened to in our lifetime and our mama's lifetime and our mama's lifetime. Christianity is old. So you got to go back to the beginning and see how it came. And to me, it came out of tyranny. Christianity came out of tyranny, but that doesn't stop me from believing in Yeshua, Jesus. It doesn't. Even if Jesus was, even the picture, even though I know that's false. In my heart, I had a dream. I had such a strong reaction about Jesus when I was young, when I was 5, that it's like embedded on my heart. And I actually asked the neighbor if she remembered what happened, because I was like 5 or 6 years old playing at her house. My mom was on the phone too. And I literally had like an overwhelming body experience where I was like hiccuping and crying and everything because I seen a picture of Jesus Christ nailed on a cross, and it was in color in the 70s. So this had to be around 1980 because I was born, yeah, I'm 46. So yeah, and I remember asking her, and she was like, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. And I remember me being a child saying a whole lot of things, but I don't remember everything that I said. But going back now and thinking about all the things that I was told that I said, the people around me knew that I was spiritually gifted because I had foresight and insight. I could literally read their mind. And they didn't understand how, and it freaked them out. But it's not that I can really read your mind, which, anywho,